St. Bart's, how are you? What a week. We are well and truly into Lent. We had quite a night the other night at Beer and Theology, celebrating all that God has done in and through now Dr. Chris Myers. And as we're approaching very swiftly this Sunday, the second Sunday of Lent, which brings us to some really a really interesting moment in the lectionary. We're thrust straight into John's Gospel. And one of the great facets of John's Gospel is you have these incredible accounts of up close and personal conversations. And this Sunday we're going to be in John 3 looking at Nicodemus, a member of the Sanhedrin, a well-learned, educated Jewish leader speaking to Jesus at night in the cover of darkness. And they're talking about kingdom. What is this kingdom? What is Jesus? Essentially, he's saying, Jesus, what are you doing? So we'll be looking at that. And it's interesting, isn't it? It's made me think as I've been preparing, when we have these conversations, whether it's, with friends or colleagues or people we've known for a long time. And the more we talk, the more we know where someone's coming from. And so often the conversation is shaped by where the other person has come from. And that's true too of our worship at St. Bart's. And a lot of what we do is to help people get an idea of where we are as they come from somewhere else. And we're so thankful that the Lord is growing the church. And in order to help people learn more about St. Bart's and why we do what we do, we have some things happening this weekend. The first is after our service at 9, we have our first week of Intro to St. Bart's. Intro to St. Bart's is just like the title says. It's an introduction to the culture of the church and how we do what we do. And so that's immediately after the service at 10:30. There'll be childcare for all ages for those who are taking the class. And then that evening, we're having an additional evening service at 5 o'clock at St. Bart's, which is going to be an instructed Eucharist. Now, an instructed Eucharist, we're doing it in the evening because we are a little pressed for time in the morning. And it gives us an opportunity to stop and talk about why we do what we do. Symbolism without meaning is odd mystery surrounded by ritual. But when we understand the meaning of symbolism, then the meaning of the symbolism can line up with our faith and can become very powerful aids in our worship and our faith. And so that's what the plan is for the 5 o'clock service. It'll be very similar to the morning service, except we'll stop and you'll hear a little commentaries about what's going on and why do we do this here and what does this mean and why do we say this and why do we do this. And it tends to be really informative for people. And so if you've never been to one, I'd encourage you to come and come to both services, come to one service, whatever will help. And as Chris highlighted last Sunday so powerfully, Lent isn't so much about being down in the dumps for 40 days. It's not really about being hard on ourselves or punishing ourselves, but really the wilderness has been redeemed. And it's become a place of encounter. It's become a meeting place. It's a place where Jesus comes and brings us to him. And it's a sense where we are drawn to God and able to meet with him in a new and profound way. And so that's what we're praying for, and we're going to look at that in the context of what's really happening, not what's really happening, but what's going on under the surface in John chapter 3, and look forward to having you worship with us. Every blessing, friends, and until we see you on the weekend, we are praying for you.